bounce-back game like that?
Yeah, it was great in a lot of ways. The only negative is that, we were up cheering and screaming late with a big lead because the walk-ons and Cortland got to play and score. So I kind of felt bad about that and explained it to Orlando. He was great about it, but the things we worked on, I think all week, we kind of got back to, doing. We shared the ball, and we tried to guard, and we played hard. So that was pretty evident with 27 assists and 8 turnovers, and having I think we had 5 guys in double figures. And would you ever imagine that the walk-ons in Cortland would outscore Ben? We'd never imagined that, but it was a great game for us. I looked at South Florida, their bench and our bench are pretty similar in terms of numbers, and then they lost the kid during the game. I could feel for them.
When you look at a performance like that against a team that's shorthanded, is it hard to evaluate how much better your team is playing as opposed to the other guys are just shorthanded too?
No, that was just one game. I think anytime you went on the road in a conference, because I spoke to Coach Calipari, and I speak to him all the time, but he can look at a film and watch an opponent play somebody else, and then when they play Kentucky, he said they're like on speed. He didn't say it quite that way, but that's what I try to let our kids know, that we become, on somebody's schedule, a big game, and you're going to get their best shot no matter who you play. And I think that's a neat thing, but it's also makes you realize how you can't take anything for granted.
The conference title, how big is that for you guys? I mean, obviously there's no undefeated season or anything like that, but isn't that pretty much what you guys set out for this year?
I think Bill, when we found out what the penalties were, that was the thing is we wanted the seniors to have a great year. So obviously that was the main goal, and then the only thing you plan for once you get into the conference is to try to win a championship. But I think that would have been our goal anyway, because we were lucky enough to win it last year, and you'd love to defend it. But to be honest with you, I just want every game we play now a meaningful game for Ben and Jordan and Marcus. We owe it to them, and what happens, down the road, we can talk about it at the proper time, but I just don't want us to waste a practice or a game or an opportunity for those guys to play like we played early in the year and sharing the ball and playing hard, like we did against South Florida.
The first time you played Tulsa, it was very close to where Shake Milton's from, and he came out and shot the lights out. Does he have similar nerves or excitement going into the rematch, being not near home, being here instead?
I just, watched film with him today. I've talked to him. I can't imagine more pressure on a kid from Tulsa, maybe the best player in the state. Can't imagine any more pressure on a kid than he had that game, but that's the way we gotta feel about every game, because again, everybody's trying to get us, and he responded well, but that's why we all felt so fortunate to have him, because he's that kind of kid. I think he likes to be in situations like that.
He kind of had a tough game against Houston, so him bouncing back was probably a good sign to you. I mean, he's a freshman, obviously.
We all had a tough game against Houston. So I think everybody on our team plays better when everybody's playing at a high level. But it was nice to see him, have confidence in shooting the ball again, because he's passed up, opportunities, and we need him. I told him, Nick and Shake have the green light. I only, but they do, because I know they'll take good shots.
The last time you met, Tulsa hit, I think it was 10 3-pointers. How much of that was something correctable within your defense, and how much was just a night where everything they threw up was going in?
Tulsa?
The last time you met?
No, every time we play Tulsa, they shoot the ball pretty well and shoot threes. Woodard plays great against us all the time, and now, you got they're starting Britt. He only played, I think, 11 minutes against us, and he's shooting 40 from 3. We know Woodard's capabilities, and I think Shaq Harrison's one of the most underrated players in the country, in my mind. They're a senior team. They got 9 seniors, and they're playing at a high level. They made Houston look ordinary, and we made Houston look like, Kansas, Kentucky. So it's a huge game for them, and it's a huge game for us. But that's the way they play. We gotta really defend tomorrow.
Marcus just talked about a minute ago, and Nick is sometimes like coach out there. What do you see out of Nick?
Who?
How Nick is sometimes like coach out there. Marcus had just mentioned it. What do you see out of Nick he almost seems like a coach out there sometimes?
Marcus?
Marcus had mentioned that he thinks Nick is sometimes like a coach out there.
Oh,
What do you see?
I think, I look back in coaching and where he's come from and the way he's played. He's had a great career, but the things he's done this year are extraordinary in terms of, being a leader and being responsible. He's playing at such a high level. I finally saw his name mentioned in the 10 Kuzi finalists. I can't believe he's not mentioned it when they talk about player of the year, based on us having, pretty good year up to this point. And he's the primary reason. Not that other guys haven't played great and made a contribution, but he's been extraordinary. He didn't want to go back in the game. Yesterday, I've seen games where he doesn't take any shots. It's one of the neatest things for me personally to see his growth. Anything else?
You mentioned Cortland and the walk-ons outscoring Ben the other day. Has he taken a lot of grief about that?
I don't. It's not a knock on Ben, but
No.
It's just, one David's parents were there, which was unbelievable. And Jake hits a 3. I think they actually outscored the, South Florida the last 3 minutes, but to me as a coach, when you realize the investment these kids have made in your program, and then they have the opportunity to play and have a situation like that, it's great. And then Jonathan didn't score, but he was giving it up, and which I think shows a little bit about his character, wanting those other guys.